Hello everyone. This is the story of what if Naruto found a haven in Tsunade's intimate love. Let's be friends. It was the Hanabi festival, a time when all the family and friends gather out in the park to have picnic and enjoy the beautiful view of the sakura in full bloom. We focus our view on a particular family, the Uchiha clan. All of them for once were out of their usual dark color clothing and were wearing bright color kimonos and so on. Every one of the Uchiha clan were present, from the oldest to the youngest were present. A young little boy of the age 8 stood up from his mother's lap and wandered away from their picnic site. "Sasuke-chan, don't get yourself lost," shouted his mother after him. The little boy turned around and nodded his head. Soon he continued his way to explore the crowded park with families after families sitting down under the pink shelter of the sakura. He was getting a little irritated from all the noises the families were making. All those laughing, shouting and singing. He hates them all, especially back at their picnic when his elder brother Itachi, who may be talented in everything except in the singing department, was singing some sappy tunes. It was at the edge of the park when he spotted the magnificent sakura tree. This was going to be the very tree, which he was soon to remember in years to come. He took a step closer to the tree to examine the weather-beaten barks of the tree. It was old, but he didn't mind. "Hello," came a voice from above, shocking Sasuke, who looked up to see a boy of the same age sitting on the branch just above him. "Did you come here with your family?" asked the boy again. Sasuke nodded his head. "Do you want to come up here? The view here is great. But I am too short, I can't reach the branch," speaking to the stranger for the first time, as he tiptoed to reach the branch. The boy laughs at him before stretching a hand to grab Sasuke up. "There you go." When Sasuke was finally sitting on the same branch with him. Like the stranger had said earlier, the view was great. He was able to see pale lighting of the lamppost and pink umbrella like sakura all over the place. Also he saw his family. "You like the view?" asked the boy. Sasuke turned to face him. Now that he was on the same level, he was able to see him much clearer view. The boy had spiky blonde hair, which had a goggle over it, and clear baby blue eyes, which seemed to sparkle every now and then. "Hi," he replied softly. "Nay, what are you doing out here all by yourself?" questioned the boy. Sasuke sighed before replying. "Itachi Aniki driving me insane with his horrible singing of his, so I decided to come out here." "Oh, you are so lucky." Sasuke watched the sparkle in those blue eyes die away with gloom slowly overtaking them. "Why? 'Cause I don't have anyone, not even a single friends except for Iruka-sensei." The boy smiled a sad smile before looking at Sasuke again, who looked away shyly before asking. "Then can I be your friend?" The boy's eyes widened happily, the sparkle back in his eyes again, finally a big grin. "Really? Yeah, I don't know what to call you, my friend." "Uzumaki Naruto. Just call me Naruto." Naruto smiled happily at Sasuke. "I am Uchiha Sasuke. Nice to meet you." Both of them shook hands before continuing enjoying the view. Sasuke was bothered by something. What are new friends supposed to do? "I know, I will give him something." He reached into his sleeves and took out a small frog toy and handed it to Naruto. "For you, Naruto, as a mark of new friendship." Naruto took it and smiled happily. Never did anyone give him anything in his whole entire life. Naruto, with the frog in hand, took off his goggle and gave it to Sasuke, who took it with a blank look. "What is this, Naruto?" "A special goggle. You can see things better in the dark with this." "Really? Try it on." Sasuke put on the goggle to see that he was able to see things better and clearer. He was able to see Itachi with microphone in hand, doing a stupid dance. His family member all cheering him on. "This is so cool, I can see Itachi doing a stupid dance." Over the next 1 hour, both Naruto and Sasuke chatted about all kind of things, like what they dislike and like. They were about to go more into each other's lives when Sasuke heard his mother calling for him. "Oh dear, I got to go, we chat more tomorrow, okay?" "Okay. Promise you will be there." "I will, my best friend." "Ah, best friend. Uzumaki Naruto is and will forever be my best friend in the entire universe," screamed the little boy before jumping off the tree. Sasuke turned around and waved a big goodbye before running to the welcoming arms of his mother. Meanwhile, on the tree, Naruto, the best friend of Uchiha Sasuke, grinned happily at the thought of meeting his new friend tomorrow over a meal of his favorite ramen. Sleepover. Naruto woke up to the best of day of his life. The weather was fine, not too hot or too cold, Just fine. It was the day he was going to meet his best friend at the ramen bar. He jumped out from his bed and make his way to the kitchen. Iruka was already in there making breakfast. "Morning, Iruka Aniki," greeted Naruto in a sing-song voice and hopped into his seat. "Morning, Naruto. You seemed awfully happy today," smiled Iruka as he placed some scrambled eggs onto Naruto's plate. "Yup. I am super happy today, so you want to know why?" "Sure," smiled Iruka as he sat opposite Naruto, who was stuffing the scrambled egg into his mouth. "I going to meet my best friend at the ramen bar. After that we going to play all day long." Iruka raised an eyebrow at him in surprise before putting a forkful of eggs into his mouth. "You got a best friend? Who is your best friend?" "Uchiha Sasuke." Iruka started choking on his eggs. Never he imagined that a member of the Uchiha clan to befriend the seal of the Nine Tails. "Iruka-sensei, you okay?" As he looked at his choking Aniki with concern. He watches Iruka drinking a gulp of water before speaking again. "Wow, I meant cool, so when did you get to know him?" "Yesterday at the Hanabi festival in the park on a sakura tree at 9 hours 15 minutes and 34 seconds p.m. spoke Naruto as he got up to wash his plate. "Oh yeah, I forgot to mention something." "What is it?" "I won't be home for the next 2 days. I am going to be away on a mission starting from today." Naruto immediately turned around and frowned at Iruka, trying to give the best puppy dog look he could came up with. Iruka groaned at the look. "Come on, Naruto, stop giving that look. It is a mission and I have to go. Beside, you are big enough to stay home alone for the next 2 days. You can always head to the third Hokage's house." "Mission. Mission. It's always mission. You give a damn about me. Beside, I don't want to stay the third Hokage's house, not especially when he going to be busy with all his meetings," whined Naruto as he sat down on the chair and gave an angry pout. "Naruto, please. We need this money if you want to continue to be at the ramen bar. We still owe Gia-sama some money." Naruto stared at Iruka and gave a small nod. "Okay. You can go. Promise me you will be back with some ramen." Iruka smiled at his little brother, before leaning over and ruffling his hair. "Go and wash up. You stink." Naruto poked out his tongue at him before rushing to the bathroom. Iruka leaned back against his chair, remembering how he had found the boy crying in the middle of the marketplace 2 years ago. How the salty face light up when Iruka offered to take him for a ramen treat and later to be his Aniki. He remembered how the villagers called him insane for adopting Naruto. Home of the Uchiha's clan. "Mama, I'm going out to meet my best friend later," spoke up the little raven-haired boy at breakfast. Nearly the whole 8 family members including Itachi stopped eating and stared at him, who just continues eating. "What? You got a best friend? This must be a joke." "No, it's a miracle," spoke up Itachi, for it known that Sasuke never had friend in his whole 8 years. Sasuke stared at him. "You got a problem with that?" "No, it is hard to believe that too cool and good for anyone Sasuke got a best friend." "Just shut up, Aniki. It is my mouth and I can talk whatever I want, you dumb Sasuke-chan." Beside, he was about to continue when he was hit on the forehead with a chopstick. Sasuke just giggled at his brother's expression. "Mum, what was that for?" grumbled Itachi as he rubbed his forehead and gave a death glare to his mother and little brother. Both with the rest continue with their breakfast. "For disturbing your brother and spoiling the peace of this breakfast," spoke his mother as she sipped her tea. "I am done," announced Sasuke as he got up from his seat and making his way to his room. Itachi. "Yes, Mum. Your mission for today is to follow your brother and find out who his best friend is and report back here." "What?" I object. "No way am I going to waste my time by following 2 dumb small kids. Beside, I have a C-class mission today. Then when it is over, go and check them out, or else I going to cut your allowance." "Okay." At noon, Sasuke was the first to arrive and waited outside the shop so that Naruto could spot him easily. He had the goggle, which was given last night, hanging around his neck. Minutes ticked by and he was getting a little impatient. From across the street a group of girls were staring at him and giggling away. "Where is that baka?" grumbled Sasuke, getting a little irritated from all those giggling. Suddenly someone tapped him on the shoulder and he turned around to face a grinning face. "Yo. Sorry I am late. Iruka Aniki had to go on a C-class mission, so he had to grill me before he left." Both of them head into the shop and found a booth to sit in. My Aniki had to go on a mission too. Cool, what team is he in? Team 7. You? Same here. That means both of them know each other, isn't that great? Both of them were slapping fives before the waiter came to their table. What for you today, Naruto and his friend? Smiled the old man. 2 kitties ramen meal. Both of them spoke up. Right on, little buddies. Smiled the waiter before walking away, trying to remember who is the raven-haired boy. You come here often, Naruto? Questioned Sasuke, wondering how come the old man knew Naruto. Very often with Iruka Aniki. I wish I have Aniki like yours. He seemed very close to you. Actually, he is not my real brother. My parents were gone before I even knew them and Iruka adopted me to be his brother 2 years ago. Sasuke noticed the sadness in his eyes when Naruto mentioned his parents. He carefully makes a mental note not to mention his parents anytime with him. However, he smiled at the pride in Naruto's eyes whenever he mentioned Iruka. Here you guys go. Kitty's ramen. 2 mini bowls of ramen were set in front of the two. Naruto immediately dug into his meal, surprising his friend at the rate he was eating. Naruto, slow down. You going to choke at this rate? Worried Sasuke. Naruto paused and looked at him. Naya. Eat up yours before it gets cold and that not going to taste very nice. Naruto gave him a smile, which Sasuke returned, and both continue with their meal. Half the day has gone by and sun were starting to set. However, the two friends were not quite ready to go home yet. They gone fishing, playing pranks on the third Hokage by hiding his official Hokage hat in his washing tub. Sasuke felt bad about it, but at the same time, he never had so much fun in his life before. Now they were sitting together in the park eating ice cream. Hey Sasuke, could Elle lick some of yours? Asked Naruto, eyeing the peppermint ice cream that Sasuke was licking. Okay, if you let me have some of your chocolate. Naruto nodded and both stretched their ice cream for the other to lick. It tastes so good. Both let out a sigh before giggling. Naruto, do you want to sleep over at my place? Sleepover? What is that? It means you spent the night over at my place. Really? I can? This is so cool. Sure, why not? Iruka Aniki is not going to be home for the next 2 days. In this case, why not spend the next 2 days and tonight at my place? I am sure there would be any objection. Right on. After this ice cream, we go over my place to get my clothes. Sure. Both gave a big grin and continue eating his ice cream, impatient to spend their time at Sasuke's place. Ta-da! This is where the Uchiha clan stay, announced Sasuke as he did a little presentation of his home outside the gate. Naruto was shocked at the huge size of the house. It was done traditionally, not like the strange kind of pigeonholes that most of the villagers were staying in. Sugoi. It is gigantic. Come on in. Sasuke beckoned Naruto to enter the garden before letting out a happy, I'm home. Next thing Naruto knew, the garden was filled up with members of the Uchiha's clan. About 20. Which was a lot to him. A woman, an older and female version of Sasuke, steps forward and stood in front of him. Mom and everyone, meet my best friend Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto gave a formal bow, missing everyone's shock look. Our little Sasuke has befriended the Nine-Tail. But when he was up and facing them, none of them were showing it. Welcome Naruto to our home. Come on in. The lady warmly welcomes him inside the house. Naruto was shocked by her gestures. Normally the other villagers would immediately chase him out of their premises. None of them welcoming him into their home. This was the first time he entering someone else's home. The rest of the household had gone on with their daily duties and were told to meet the lady of the house at a certain time for a meeting. Left in the living room were Naruto, Sasuke and his mother. Naruto, did you enjoy yourself today? Yes, madam. I had a great time with Sasuke. First we went to eat ramen, then later on we went fishing at the pier. Yeah, and I caught a blowfish. It was cute when it bloated up, boasted Sasuke. It was like this. Naruto puffed up his cheeks and did some waving motions with both hands. Sasuke laughed at his action and did follow in suit. Uchiha Kaoru leaned back against the chair and smiled softly at the cheekiness of the two boys. It's been such a long time ever since she last saw her little boy laughing away. And it happened because of one boy. She watched both of them stop laughing and looking at her. Mom, could Naruto stay over for the next 2 days? His Aniki is away on a mission. Pouted Sasuke. Oh, sure, why not? I am sure you are in need of a company since that Aniki of yours is away. Mum, growled Sasuke while Naruto laughed softly. Sasuke, why don't you take Naruto to play in your room until I call you for dinner? Sure. Come on Naruto, I want to show you my new kunai set that third uncle got me last week. Cool. With Sasuke taking his hand, Naruto followed gleefully after him. Meeting Minasan, announced Kaoru. Immediately all the 19 members showed up. Kaoru-san, are you really going to let the Foxboy stay here? Asked a worried third auntie Hanako. Kaoru shot a death glare at Hanako, who gulped fearfully. Hanako-san, shame on yourself. How can you be part of the Uchihas? Barked Kaoru. But everyone here shares the same thoughts. Kaoru's eyes scanned the room to see all of them looking down, none of them daring enough to meet her eyes. Have you forgotten what the third and the fourth said when they approached us for help 12 years ago? Questioned Kaoru. Some of them shook their head while others nodded their head. She continued, both of them wanted us to protect the so-called Fox Boy. The fourth had wanted the boy to be hailed as a hero for he acted as a seal in order to save this very village. But did the villagers did that? No. They sneered at him and gave hateful glances. Only Sasuke and Iruka were brave enough to befriend him. You all are the same as those villagers. With that she glared angrily at them. There were mumbling about how they realized that the fox boy had suffered for them and they repay him with coldness. Kaoru smiled a ghost smile when she noticed the change of attitude towards the boy. The whole of clan except the head and Itachi were present in the dining room. The atmosphere Sasuke noticed was different from earlier in the garden. It was friendlier and warmer. Many of members were engaged in conversation with his best friend who feeling that he was on top of the world. Some of his family was dumping all kinds of food into the boy's plate, which was starting to look like a mini Mount Fuji. What, Naruto? I can't believe you actually did that to the third Hokage. All the teenagers of the clan were fascinated about the adventures of Naruto and the third Hokage. Naruto, of course, was enjoying every moment. Sasuke moved closer to his mother and whispered to her, Mum, thanks for everything. You are welcome, sweetheart. Kaoru beeped him on the cheek. Naruto looked like he having the time of his life. Yeah. Time for bed, boys. Came Kaoru into Sasuke's room. They were in a mid of wrestling with each other who immediately stopped when she came into the room. Both of them gave a big, "Ah," which Kaoru ignored and grabbed both of them by the collar, throwing them onto the futon. Both boys giggled happily and were tucked in by Kaoru. Night, Mum. Night, sweetheart. Giving Sasuke a beep on the forehead. At the corner of her eyes, she noticed the sadness and wants of Naruto's eyes while observing the reaction of mother and son. Knowing, she leaned over him. Night, Naruto. She then proceeded to give a beep on the forehead. Naruto blushed from the beep. He was starting to feel all warm and fuzzy, a feeling he never experienced before. Night, Auntie. He smiled before closing his eyes. Kaoru left the room, knowing the two boys could hardly sleep at all. Sasuke, you asleep yet? Asked Naruto. No, can I sleep beside you? Sure. Sasuke lifted up the blanket for Naruto to snuggle beside him. Thanks. You know you got the best mum in the whole world. Yeah, that's my mum, Sasuke. You also got one weird family. I know. Wait till you meet Itachi. He is the worst, probably take after my dad. Speaking of which, where is your dad? He is on a trip to the Sound Village. Oh. Naruto let out a tired yawn and closed his eyes. Night, best friend. Night, best friend. Day 1 yawned little Sasuke as he opened his eyes to the daylight streaming in from below the shoji. He tried to stretch his left arm but felt weight on it, turning to see that his best friend was snuggling into him. Slowly, with his right hand, he lifts Naruto's head from his arm and put it on the pillow. He then got up and left the room with mischief up his sleeve. Naruto felt drips of water on his cheek, causing him to break away from his wonderful dream of becoming the Hokage. With no knowledge of what Sasuke did to his right hand, he moved his right hand to rub his cheek, causing the string which was attached to his index finger to trigger, in which the pail of cold water above his head splashed onto him. Wah! Cold! Scream out Naruto, who was totally drenched in the futon. He was now certainly wide awake. He stared at the culprit who was standing at the entrance laughing away. Soon he smirked back at Sasuke, who was shocked by his reaction. Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke slowly gulped down the fear that suddenly came up behind him. Slowly he turned around to face his mother who was staring glumly at him. "Hi. Morning, Mum," greeted Sasuke. Kaoru grabbed hold of his ear and twisted it, causing Sasuke to groan out in pain. "Ouch. Uchiha Sasuke, you are just like your brother, look what you done to your guest," pointing a finger at Naruto who now standing in front of him and giving an angry pout. "You better apologized." With no other choice, he bowed his head. "Sorry Naruto-chan. I didn't really mean it." Both Naruto and Kaoru smiled, with Naruto playfully punching him in the arm. "That's okay. You two boys better go and wash up. Breakfast in 15 minutes. With that, Kaoru walked away. Naruto was grumbling. "I already wash up and it all thanks to somebody." "Sorry," came from the other. "Morning everyone," greeted the blonde boy as he popped into the dining room where the Uchihas were quietly eating breakfast. All eyes fall on him to see Naruto wearing the dark blue Uchiha shirt and pants. On the other hand, Sasuke was little uncomfortable in Naruto's orange overall, with a goggle on his head. "Naruto-chan, what with this change?" asked Sho, a 15-year-old Uchiha. All the other teenagers nodded their head too. "Nay, I got bored with my orange outfit so decided to trade with Sasuke for the day. We are going to hang out at the Three Hokage's place today. Wanna come along?" asked Naruto as he sat beside Sho and Sasuke. There were groans and grumbling from the teenagers, as they had to attend an exam today and going to miss the chance. "Naruto-chan, don't go and disturb the third, he is busy," spoke Kaoru as the head of the table. "He doesn't mind at all, Kaoru-san," replied Naruto as he gobbled up his chicken ramen. It is the best ramen I ever tasted. Who cooked this?" He looked across the table to see a blushing Hanako raising her hand up. "It is good, Hanako-san. You must teach me the secret someday." Hanako just nodded her head. "I am done," yelled out Naruto as he slammed the bowl on the table and used the back of the hand to wipe his mouth. "I am done too," yelled Sasuke as he put the bowl down without a sound. Both of them got up from the table and waved a big goodbye to the Uchihas before making their way to the third Hokage's place. At the third Hokage's place, "Oh, you are improving," laughed the third as he thought up of ways to counter back the move in the Go game. "Of course, when I going to be the next Hokage? Naruto the fourth," boasted Naruto. However, he was hit on the head. "Baka, the fourth is dead, and you can never be the fifth." "Oh yeah, I forgot, Naya, I going to be the fifth," poking out his tongue at Sasuke who together with the third, just sighed. "Nay, third Hokage-sama, is the fourth really dead?" asked Sasuke. The question been bugging his mind and there was no way it was going to remain in his mind. He watched the sparkle in Naruto's eyes melting away, and the smile on the third growing bigger. "Ah, good questions. You seemed very familiar to me," said the third as he rubbed his chin. "Uchiha Sasuke. Ah, Uchiha clan. Powerful and equal to the Hyuga clan." "Nay, the Uchihas are so much better than those freaky white eyes people," objected Naruto, raising the eyebrow of both Sasuke and the third. "Why is that so? I hated the way they look at me. It is already bad enough that they don't have any pupils and the way they treated me was worst. I was kind enough to return the teddy bear that Hinata lost at their doorstep. Instead of, thanks, they spat at me and asked me to get lost." Sasuke and the third's eyes widened at the treatment the so-called respected clan gave to Naruto. "We, Uchihas shall declare war on them," declared Sasuke as he stood up. He was very angry. He pulled down to the cushion by the third. "No, don't matter worst. About your question, let me tell you children a big secret that even the Junin and others doesn't know. The fourth is not dead, he is somewhere and alive." He watches their eyes widened before Naruto laughed. "You must be joking. He is dead." Then explain these. From his sleeves, he took out several pictures of the fourth in some sunny place, fishing or reading away. Their dates taken were quite recent. "Then why say that he is dead?" asked Naruto angrily. "We had to, so that that is another secret." The third then concentrate on the Go game while he was concentrating. A hand quickly slipped a photo into his sleeve. "Third Hokage-sama, we got to go now," said Sasuke as he pulled Naruto up from and away from the Go game. "Wait. I am about to win." protested Naruto as he waved a bye to the Hokage. The third Hokage just sat there and stared at the photo. Gomen. Fourth. I no longer can keep the secret within me. He has to know sooner or later. Sasuke had dragged Naruto all the way to the playground. Sasuke-chan. Why do you have to drag me all the way here? Asked Naruto as they finally stop and rest at the bench. I got something important to show you. With that, Sasuke took out the photo from his orange sleeve and gave it to Naruto. It was a picture of the fourth fishing at a river. I have seen this already, pouted Naruto as he stared at a boy with crimson red hair, playing in the sandbox all by himself. Look carefully, Naruto-chan. Sasuke poked Naruto in the stomach to get his attention. You look exactly like the fourth. This time, Naruto scanned the photo carefully. He had the same blue eyes, the same hair color and style, and the same nose like the fourth. This must be a mistake, Sasuke-chan. There is no way I am exactly like the fourth. He might be your dad. No way. They died way before I was born. Let's forget about the whole matter and play with that guy. He seemed lonely. Naruto smiled a fake smile and jumped off the bench. Sasuke sadly put the photo back into the pocket and followed after Naruto. Two pairs of green eyes were focusing on the pile of sand before him. He put both hands over it. Soon there were gush of wind leaving a nice sand castle before him. He smiled a small smile, which soon disappeared when he turned to look at the other kid's sand castle at the other corner of the sandbox. Theirs were not as perfect as his, and why were they avoiding him? Four of them giggled together as they built sandcastle after sandcastle, leaving him all by him in his corner of the sandbox. He was about to get up to approach them when two pairs of shadow fell over him. He looked up to see a blonde-haired boy with blue eyes, wearing a dark blue shirt and pants, and another boy with raven hair, which was supported by a goggle, wearing an orange jacket and pants. Hi there. Could we join you? Asked Naruto as he and Sasuke squatted down in front of the crimson head boy. Sure, came the reply. My name is Uzumaki Naruto and this is Uchiha Sasuke, smiled Sasuke for the first time to a stranger. Gaara, smiled the crimson-haired boy. He was feeling so happy. It was the first time he is making friends at the sandbox. Wait till his brother and sister hear this. They're so going to drop dead. No, he is not going to kill them. So Gaara, what shall we build today? Asked Naruto as he began to pile sand in front of him. Sasuke was also doing the same thing, but he was using a kunai to dig up the sand. How about a miniature little leaf village? Suggested Gaara. Both Naruto and Sasuke stared at each other before shaking their head. That seemed difficult. No, it is not. Let me show you. First we must cover this area with a lot of sand. Come and help me. Yes, sir. Both boys saluted Gaara and went about piling sand into the area that Gaara had pointed out. Naruto's hands were getting a little sore from digging up sands. Sasuke was feeling the same thing. Naruto looked over at the four boys who were playing sand castle or mountains, had nice spades and buckets. He got up and walked towards them. Hey there, could we borrow a pair of spade and bucket from you, please? Asked Naruto as politely as he could. Four pairs of eyes looked at him. Naruto knew them. They were Kiba, Shino, Lee and Neji. He flinched at the last boy but tried not to show his displeasure. No, yelled Lee and Kiba. Why not? Beside you each have two pairs, pointed out Naruto. We don't want to share our things with monsters like him and you, spoke up Neji, earning angry glances from Naruto, Sasuke and Gaara. So I am a monster too, spoke up Sasuke as he stood beside Naruto. The four of them had not seen him earlier, and now that they seen him, they beckoned for him. Sasuke, don't stand near them. My uncle said that they are monsters, spoke up Neji. You know what? Your uncle is a blind man, and in fact the whole lot of you, shouted Sasuke. Even Naruto was starting to feel afraid. My uncle is not blind, and so are the rest of the Hyuga. And how dare you insult us, stood up Neji. The other three also stood up. Sasuke-chan, Naruto-chan, we better leave them alone, spoke up Gaara softly. No way, they started it first, both of them said at the same time. Ooh, look, the sand boy siding with them and he is talking. Look, there isn't sand coming out from his mouth, joked Lee. The rest of them laughed. Gaara was getting angry. Shut up, You stupid thick eyebrow. I think you need some trimming for it, shot back Naruto. Lee covered both his eyebrows. Sasuke and Gaara were trying hard not laugh. This time, it was Kiba's turn to say something. Hey, panda eyes. The three of them looked around and soon realized that he was actually referring to Gaara. Gaara frowned at him. What do you want? He asked coldly. Is it true that you bury the children you play with, in this very sandbox? Sasuke and Naruto's eyebrow raised at Gaara, who shook his head and had a trust me look on. No, I don't. In fact, it sounds like a very good idea. Would the four of you like to try it? With that, Gaara did some seals with his hand. Soon the sands started moving to his comment and the four of them were buried under with their heads sticking out. Unbury us, you moron! They started screaming and yelling. Sasuke and Naruto were laughing at their plight. Actually, we don't need those plastic things. I show you how I build sand castle my way. Gaara continued with another set of seal, causing the sands to swirl around the four heads. When it cleared away, it was a miniature leaf village on top of them. The Hokage monument was even there. 4 of the heads were in the marketplace, where they executed missing nins and outlaws. Sugoi! Both of Themed cried out in delight before they kneeled down to examine the village. Look, this is my house, pointing at a pigeonhole above a ramen store. And mine over here, pointing the Uchiha's house near the edge of the village. Where is your place, Gaara? Asked the both of them. Gaara blushed and pointed at the house next to the Uchiha's. What? And I didn't even realize it, Sasuke mumbled out. My family just moved here from the sand village a week ago, explained Gaara. Great, now we are all new friends, cheered Naruto as he bounced somewhere directly above Neji's stomach, earning a groan of pain from the Hyuga. Oh dear, I better be home. Or else my Aniki and Ne-san going to be worried. Gaara got up and waved bye at them before walking off. Wait. Let's walk back together, Sasuke screamed after him, dragging Naruto along. The three of them hold hands together and walk through the forest to get back home. So be at my house at noon tomorrow. Sasuke smiled Gaara, who nodded his head happily. Gaara was the first to reach his house, as his was nearer to the main road than the Uchiha's. Bye Gaara-chan. Both boys waved goodbye at Gaara, who waved back happily. Meanwhile, back at the playground, the parents of Shino, Kiba, Lee and Neji were standing at the graveyard of their sons. All of them were staring at the miniature leaf village. I don't think I'm going to dug my son, spoke up Shino's dad. There was agreement among the parents. Dad, yelled the sons. I really don't want to spoil this sand image of little village, explained Kiba's father. Dad, please dig us now cause my bladder is full and soon the village is going to flood, whined Kiba. Sighing softly, all the parents used their own skills to dig their sons up. Kiba immediately make a gangway for the toilet. Lee cried softly into his parents' arm about wanting to trim his eyebrows. Shino and his dad were discussing about using the bugs to build back the village, and Neji just walked off, not listening to his mother's scream after him, swearing revenge on the three boys. Day 2. It was 15 minutes before the appointed time for them to meet Gaara outside the main of the Uchiha. Naruto and Sasuke were in Sasuke's room, busy making plans for the day. Both of them were wearing the Uchiha's uniform. Sasuke found that the weather wasn't suitable for Naruto's outfit. I say we go to the beach, suggested Naruto as he laid down on his stomach and play with the rubber duck, which he got from the bathroom. Sasuke smiled at the idea and wrote it down on the paper. Good idea, there is the sun, the sea and sand. Completing his sentence was, Gaara-chan. Both of them stood up to grab Gaara into the room and smashing the shoji shut for privacy, but not before Naruto stick a note saying, please do not disturb, nins in meeting, in bad spelling. Your mother let me in when she saw me midway on the fence, smiled Gaara. Midway? Wondered Naruto. It means he was in the middle of the fence, you baka, smirked Sasuke at him. Don't call me, baka, or else, shot back Naruto, or else what? Smirked Sasuke as he saw Naruto searching his brain for comeback. Meanwhile, Gaara tried to act as a mediator. Mama, it is not nice that friends fight. Or else I tell your mom. Naruto smiled at his comeback, finally glad that he got the upper hand. Sasuke pout at him and turn away. Fine, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Enough! Yelled Gaara, getting both friends' attention. Friends should be happy together. Now I want you both to shake hand and say, sorry. Sasuke turned around and faced Naruto, stretching his hand, which Naruto accepted. Together they went, sorry, in the most adorable tone ever. Ever the toughest Junin would cry at this scene. Sorry, if it was too corny. High on coffee. Good. Now let's stand out our day by going to the beach. Smiled Gaara. Both Naruto and Sasuke smile at him, about forgetting about the little squabble they had. As they were about to head out of the gate, little raindrop starts hitting on them. Oh dear, it started raining. Groaned Naruto as they quickly make their way into Sasuke's house. Over the next hour, the three boys laid around, praying for the rain to stop so that they could go out and play. Rain, rain go away, sang Naruto as he lay on the tatami mat with an arm over his face. Come again another day. Continued Sasuke as he sat out on the veranda, his hand stretching out to cup the raindrops. Little children want to play. Gaara groaned out the last part. He was sick and tired of the rain. It never did really rain in Sand Village. He was beside Sasuke, kicking the puddle of water that started to form. That was how Kaoru found the boys, all bored out and singing for the rain to stop. She smiled when an idea came to mind. Hello boys. She greeted them happily. Hey mum. Kaoru-san, greeted the children, in monotone. Why are you boys so dead out? It is raining and it ruined our plan of going to the beach. Groaned Naruto as he sat up straight. I got something I am sure you guys are definitely interested in. All of the boys perked up, waiting for her to continue. You boys can join me in meditation. She watched the boys collapse to the ground. Kaoru gave a small laugh and continued. Just joking. I meant to say that you guys could always use the indoor hot bath and this time I allow swim. There is water and sand but no sun, how about that? The three boys jumped up to give a big hug to Kaoru. You are the best. Smiled Sasuke and he hugs her tighter. Get going now. Sasuke, show the way. The two boys followed Sasuke after, all of them going at high speed, avoiding crashing into some of the Uchihas who were meditating on the veranda. That one reason why I love being a mom. Baka hide, when are you come home? Grumbled Kaoru as it had been quite a while since she last saw her husband. Watch out. Great Naruto's meat tank. Yelled as he cannoned into the hot bath, splashing over Sasuke and Gaara. Both of them were playing beach ball, hitting it to and fro. This is so fun. Cheered Sasuke as he hit the ball towards Gaara. Yeah. Hitting the ball back to Sasuke. Meanwhile Naruto was looking something around the bath. Diving into the bath and staying submerged for a while before coming up again. Hey, Naruto. What are you doing? Asked Sasuke, looking for Rubber Ducky and Froggy. Answered Naruto as he continued with his search. Baka. Scolded Sasuke. What the problem now? Grumbled Naruto. Bad enough he couldn't find his Ducky and Froggy, now he got labeled as a Baka. Both of them are rubber, right? Yeah. Rubber float on water, you dork. Laughed Sasuke as he watched the eyes of Naruto widen with happiness and a look that say, why didn't I thought of it? Naruto looked at the smirk that Sasuke had on his face, and splashed water at him to wipe it off. Hey. Sasuke began to splash back, accidentally hit Gaara in progress. Sasuke. Gaara splashed back at him. Water fight. Soon the three boys were engaged in a water fight. Rain had stopped and the sun was shining once more in the blue eyes. Did the three boys actually worked? Meanwhile, somewhere near Uchiha's residence, three Chunins were happily walking down the road to Itachi's house. All of them were glad that the mission was finally over. Nothing like a good soak in the hot bath. Sighed Itachi at the thought of the indoor bath and his personal rubber ducky. And food, added Iruka. He still couldn't shake off his worries of leaving Naruto at home alone. Plus a good book of Icha Paradise. Both of them rolled their eyes at their third crazy teammate, Kakashi. Yes, he is the mystery guy. Just don't let my mom see you reading it or else you will suffer under her. Shuddered Itachi at the thought when his mom caught him with the forbidden book. I think I head back first. Iruka began heading away from the Uchihas but was immediately grabbed back by both his teammates. Nope. You are coming with us. Kakashi grabbed Iruka's hands and put them behind his back and started pushing him forward. But Naruto's home alone, explained Iruka, but he was pushed forward. Now they were just outside the gate. He will be fine on his own. Kakashi then covered Iruka's mouth to stop him from saying any more. Home! Shouted Itachi into the house, making his way to the indoor bath, the two other members following him close behind. Now presenting the paradise we've been seeking for. Itachi happily slid the shoji to the indoor bath aside, to see that his paradise have been conquered by three boys happily splashing water at each other and throwing his rubber ducky around. Naruto! Gasped Iruka. He was so totally surprised to see Naruto here and playing away. Iruka Aniki! Smiled Naruto as he bounced out from the bath and hugged Iruka. You are wet. Sasuke! What is the meaning of this? Growled Itachi. His little brother gave the most innocent look. Mom said we could play in here, replied Sasuke. Ooh, family's reunion. So sweet. Awed Kakashi as he put down his bag and went to the back of the bath, to change. Meanwhile Gaara was looking very blurred at the scene before him. He gave a squeeze to the rubber duck he'd been holding, and got a very mad Itachi looking at him. Give me back my ducky, yelled Itachi, stretching out his hand. Prove it is yours, yelled Gaara back at him. Look under and you can see me name. True enough, Itachi was written under the duck. Gaara unhappily threw it over to him. Ma, let's all go and enjoy the hot bath, came Kakashi in his surfer shorts. Drools. He still had his masks on when he dived into the hot bath. 8. Kakashi-sama, why do you still have your mask on? Asked Naruto as he floated lazily on his back. Because I am so scary that little kids peed in their shorts at their sight of me unmasked. Smiled Kakashi at him. But I am not scared. Naruto sat beside him. Never mind, said Kakashi, still smiling at him. Next Naruto went on to Itachi, who was glooming away all by himself. Hey brother of Sasuke. Smiled Naruto at him. Itachi stared at him with glint of suspicion. What do you want? And no, I am not going lend you my ducky. Itachi sneered him. I wasn't going to ask for the ducky. I have my own. Meet Froggy-chan. Naruto took out a rubber frog from his pocket. Itachi stared at the frog. Cute. He smiled at the frog. Doesn't Ducky want to make friends with Froggy-chan? Waving the frog in front of the duck that was floating in front of him. Itachi took the duck and waved it at the frog. Okay. Meanwhile on the other side of the pool, Sasuke and Gaara were sitting beside Iruka and Kakashi. Kakashi, what book are you reading? Asked Sasuke innocently, who was trying to peer at what the older boy was blushing at. Sasuke, I don't think you should him that, warned Iruka. He was engaged in a conversation with Gaara about types of sands in the world when his sharp sense of hearing picked up Sasuke's question. Why not? Asked Sasuke again, too young to anything. Kakashi looked at him and smiled a wolf smile. You want to see? No, yelled Iruka as he took the book and threw into the bath. Hey, but Lucky. Kakashi dived in and got his book out. Lucky, this book is waterproofed. Both Sasuke and Gaara looked at Iruka, who slapped his forehead. They looked at each other and shrugged their shoulder. You wanna stay over, Gaara? Okay. Goody, then we all can sleep in the same room. I think I kinda wrinkled up, whined Naruto as he showed all his fingers up. Think we should get out now, suggested Sasuke. Okay. The three of them stood up and waved goodbye to the three teenagers, saying that they want to have an early night. The two teenagers were also staying over. That night in the Uchihas, the air was filled with unfamiliar yet happy snores. In the younger Uchiha's room, three boys were snuggling up with each other, with Naruto being in the middle. While in the other room, it was the same thing. However, Iruka was in the middle. School fever. A 10-year-old Naruto slowly make his way toward Leaf Village Ninja Academy. For the first time in his life, he was feeling nervous and scared. Bad enough he was starting to hear mutterings of a fox boy joining their kids in the academy while on the way to school, but fortunately for him, Iruka decided that they could head to school together since he was one of the teachers there. How come, Naruto? Put a smile on your face. School isn't that bad at all. Iruka smiled at his little brother's nervous and from the cold hand he'd been holding. Iruka Aniki, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to fit in, just like in this village. Would I be able to make new friends? Would I be able to cope with the lessons? Will the teachers like me? Would I be able to understand and remember what I have been taught? Naruto continued to rant on and on about all his doubts about school. Iruka stopped and let go of his hand so that he was able to squat in front of the blonde-hair boy. Naruto, you have nothing to fear, for Iruka Aniki would be there to protect you. Itachi ni-san and Kakashi ni-san would also be there. I am sure you will definitely be able to make new friends. The teachers would definitely like you, for Naruto-chan is the most adorable boy in the whole of this village. For the lessons, you can come home and ask me about it. Maybe even we can practice together. I am not a teacher for nothing. So don't worry now, okay? Smile for me, okay? Naruto felt his nervousness and doubts melted away, and slowly a smile was drawn on his face. Iruka smiled back and roughed his hand. Good boy. Now let's get there and kick some ass. I mean study. Remember, don't get into any fights, warned Iruka before he stood up and walked away to report in, leaving Naruto all by himself in the parade ground, milling over with parents and kids. He scanned the parade ground, hoping that he was able to recognize someone. And he did. There were the four idiots, Shino, Kiba, Lee and Neji. Naruto groaned and prayed that he would not be the same class as them. Suddenly Naruto was pushed forward by behind. With arms around his neck, he craned his neck to see his two best friends and their families lagging behind. Sasuke-chan, Gaara-chan. He turned around and hugged them, after which the threesome gave friendly punches to each other. Nay, you guys never told me that you were going to join the academy, grumbled Naruto as he gave both of them death glares. Gaara and Sasuke blushed guilty at their lie about going to the water and Sans village to train. Kaoru patted her husband's shoulder, telling him that she was going to join the kids, and went over to pat Naruto on the head. Kaoru-san. Naruto gave her a small hug. Over the 2 years, Kaoru had grown to be a motherly figure to Naruto. Both Kaoru and the rest of Uchihas had grown to the presence of Naruto in the household, sometimes even inviting him and Iruka, on Itachi's invitation, to the Hanabi and on New Year Day's celebration. Are you all gear up for school? Asked Kaoru, seeing the excitement sparking in the threesome's eyes. Hi. All replied in cheerful tone. Their cheerful mood turned sour when the four Bakas, without their parents, approached them. Hey, Sand Boy, dead last and Mr. Too Good for Anyone here in the academy. Amazing that they are able to make it here, sneered Lee. The other three were smiling cool smile at them. Kaoru frowned at the rudeness of the four kids but said nothing, preferring to stay out the kids' matter. Oi, it is the four Bakas. Any Sans in the underwear this time? The three of them laughed when Naruto remembered them what Gaara did to them the last time. They had quietly slipped into the public bathhouse where the four Bakas were enjoying their bath and sealed Ichi-sans into their underwear. For the rest of the day, they watched the four Bakas scratching away at their lower area in public. Of course, some of the villagers' girls and the threesome were laughing at them. So you were the ones who caused our misery. Neji flared and Kiba was showing the asterisk finger asterisk at them. Immediately the three of them showed it back to them, with Kaoru gasping at Sasuke following in suit. She make a mental note to ask Sasuke about it. They were silent by the little tingling bell of the PA system. Ahem, attention all students, please gather at the parade ground with your parents by yourself in 5 minutes. Oi. I guess we have to head back to our parents. Look, someone doesn't have parents. Neji frowned at what Kiba said but put it aside since he had a mum. He watched the mischief sparkle in Naruto died, gloom replaced it. The other two boys and Sasuke's mum gave a death glare to Kiba, who shivered, and frowned at the look of the blue eyes boy. Naruto hated people talking about parents since he doesn't have one, and it was one of the reasons why he didn't want to go to school. Bastard, you better take back what you said or else. Gaara growled at Kiba, Sans starting to swirl around him. Or else what? Kiba stepped forward, pushing up his sleeves to prepare for a fight. Unfortunately his dog, Akamaru, was at home, but lucky for him, Kaoru stepped in the middle of both of them. Enough now, it is the first day of school and the two of you are already getting into a fight. But he started it first. Kiba pointed the fault at Gaara, who showed in the middle finger. No, I don't think so. You have been very rude just now, especially to Naruto-chan. Gaara-chan, you also shouldn't have showed that finger, put that sign away. Gaara immediately hid his hand behind of him and Kiba had a black look on his face. Kaoru then stood behind Naruto and put an arm around his shoulder. Beside Naruto-chan have parents and including a family and that the Uchihas. He is one of us. So he is not alone, beside he has his Aniki. Naruto looked up to see Kaoru smiling warmly at him. The sparkles were back in his eyes and gave the brightest smile to Kaoru. He was feeling very happy that he had a family. Now get back to your parents before the Hokage addressed us. The four of them meekly nodded their head and make their way to look for their parents. Sugoi. Mum, you were great, cheered Sasuke as he hugs his mother. Of course, a mum got to do what a mum got to do. Sasuke-chan, go and find for your dad. I think he is with Hinata's dad, Hyuga Heishi, over near the tree. Pointing the direction for her son. Gaara left after Sasuke, saying that he got to find his parents too, leaving Naruto and Kaoru staying in the crowd. Kaoru-san, is it true about what you said? Asked Naruto as he watched his feet, waiting to hear the disappointment, but instead. No, it is true. Really? Why should I lie to you? Anyway, you will be joining Sasuke for Meet the Parents session later. So don't worry, okay? Kaoru patted Naruto's head. Both of them watched both the husband and son coming toward them. So you guys ready to rock the school? Questioned the head of the Uchiha's clan, Uchiha Hyde. He put an arm around his wife, hugging Naruto, and his son Sasuke. Hi. The boys happily replied him, with an evil grin in their eyes. The four Bakas will pay dearly for what they said to Naruto earlier. Together the little family makes their way to report the class. Iruka was standing near the window, which was overlooking the parade ground. He was worried about Naruto and about how he would feel after he heard the announcement about having to be with the parents. But on the brighter side, he checked his class list and found that 3 boys were in his class. Oi, Iruka, you okay? You seemed a little dazed, remarked Itachi as he relaxed on the couch. Both Iruka and Itachi had joined the teaching force, with Itachi in as part-time while their crazy teammate Kakashi had gone to join the Anbu. Itachi was also in the Anbu. I am a bit worried about Naruto, about how he would reacted to the earlier announcement. He blushed deeply when Itachi hugged him from behind in order to comfort him. He would be all right since my brother and parents would be here. Itachi put his head on Iruka's shoulder. All of a sudden there was a sudden gush of wind and he was kicked in the side of the stomach. Itachi looked up to see a guy with an Anbu mask on, but could see it was Kakashi from the silver-gray hair sticking out from the top, and he was the only one who was able to kick him. Stay away from Iruka-chan, you gay, yelled Kakashi as he took off his mask. Kakashi, what you doing here? Iruka trying to control a blush when he saw that his friend wasn't wearing his usual black cloth. Drools. Oh, I heard that there were some missing nins around here. So I came here to check out the danger, and it is a good thing I came. Kakashi ended the sentence with a dead glare to Itachi. Liar. You are always a bad liar. You came here just for Iruka and you should ever call me a gay cuz I am not one. You stupid copycat. Itachi rubbed his sore stomach while yelling back at Kakashi, who ignored and was now in a conversation with Iruka. Okay. So see you later after school. Kakashi put on his mask and jumped out of the window, leaving Iruka breathless, and remembers that he had to meet the parents of the new students. I better get going, so see you later at break time. Iruka smiled happily at the lying Itachi on the floor, who too lazy to get up and left the room. I wondered what the heck those two planned for tonight. Wondered Itachi, making a reminder to tag them later. Outside the classroom of Year 1, many anxious parents and children were impatiently waiting for the teacher to call on them one by one. Slowly, one by one, the parents and their kids went in and came out with file of forms to fill in. Soon it was Sasuke and Naruto left. Gaara had left earlier since his alphabet G was so far before U. Uchiha Sasuke. The teacher called out. Naruto and Sasuke found the voice familiar but couldn't put a finger on it. Sasuke together with his parents got up from the chair. Come on, Naruto-chan. Kaoru took Naruto by the hand. Naruto was about to protest but was dragged along into the classroom. Iruka Aniki. Both of the students cheered happily when they saw that the teacher was Iruka. Iruka cleared his throat and said, Please address me as Iruka-sensei. Now that you are in school. Hi, Iruka-sensei. Both of them replied happily. Naruto. Why are you also here? Questioned Iruka. He felt something amiss when he didn't see any gloom crossing over in the bright blue eyes of his little brother. They are my family, so here am I, replied Naruto happily, Uruka looked into the eyes of the adults to confirm this and they nodded their head firmly. Oh okay. So I am your Aniki, right? No, Naruto watched Uruka frowned and continued, because you are also my sensei. Uruka and the others gave a small laugh and he continued. So Uchiha Sasuke and Naruto, you guys are finally students of this academy in which the next 2 years you will learn to be a proper ninja in order to protect this village. So take back this file containing forms for you to fill in your profiles and everything. Don't forget to get a passport size photo for it. You may go now. Be in school early tomorrow. Hi. Both Sasuke and Naruto seriously answered. Dismissed. By the way, Naruto, I won't be home for dinner tonight, I have something important on. Oh okay. Then can I join the Uchihas? Questioned Naruto, watching the welcoming smile forming on the faces of Hyde and Kaoru. Sure, no problem. Hyde-sama here, we'll get you kids prepared for school tomorrow. Hyde smiled warmly at Naruto. It was after their mini training session with Uchiha Hyde, both Sasuke and Naruto were soaking in the hot bath. Nay, Sasuke-chan, you want to know why everything went so smoothly today? Questioned Naruto. Why? Sasuke was curious to know. Because I had the toy frog you gave me 2 years ago when we first met. It is my lucky charm since then. Naruto smiled at Sasuke, who was blushing away. He had never expected Naruto to use it as a lucky charm. Are you glad that the two of us are in the same class? Sasuke nodded his head. He was starting to feel giddy and could follow whatever Naruto was saying. Just imagine, the three of us, you, me and Gaara will soon rule the school and prove to 4 Bakas that they are a bunch of Bakas. Bawahaha, nay, nay. Sasuke-chan. Are you listening to what I am saying? Sasuke-chan? Naruto waved a hand in front of Sasuke's blank face. His cheek was redder than usual. Suddenly Sasuke slipped into the water. Naruto quickly pulled him up and laid him on the floor. He was shocked to find Sasuke burning up. Sasuke-chan. You are burning up. Quick, I bring you to your room. Naruto quickly set Sasuke in a piggyback position and carried him out of the bath, all the while shouting for Kaoru. Kaoru-san. Kaoru-san. Sasuke burning up with fever. Unfortunately, all the Uchihas were out. Naruto quickly set Sasuke into the futon and went to look for some warm clothes for Sasuke to wear. He took off the wet short that Sasuke had on, and quickly put on dry ones. Then he went into the kitchen to get a basin of cool water and towel for Sasuke. Naruto-chan, are you there? Sasuke softly mumbled out without opening his eyes. Naruto put the cool towel on his forehead. Yeah, I'm here, so don't worry about anything, just rest, okay? Naruto got up and opened Sasuke's closet to look for something to wear. He got a feeling that he was going to get a cold, but who cares now that Sasuke is sick? Naruto-chan, stay here with me, moaned Sasuke in his feverish sleep. Naruto shook his head and lay beside Sasuke, pulling the blanket over himself. Soon he was fast asleep. Kaoru and Hyde came home to a quiet household. It was expected since the rest of the other Uchihas had gone to the water country village for a holiday, and strange, for it was too quiet with no noise the two boys were always seemed to be making, and it was too early to sleep. I go and check on them. Hyde nodded and makes his way to kitchen to prepare dinner while Kaoru makes her way to her youngest son's room. Her eyes widened at what she saw. Both the boys were sleeping. Sasuke had a towel on his forehead while Naruto seemed to be restless in his sleep and have difficulties sleeping. Kaoru touched her son's forehead and found that he had a slight fever, and then she touched Naruto's forehead. Naruto was burning up with fever. She quickly runs out of the room and into the kitchen. Hyde. Naruto is burning up with fever while Sasuke has a high fever. Kaoru went about to get medicine in order to bring the fever down. Meanwhile, Hyde went out to search for Uruka. Hell for Uruka. A blue eye opened to the faint sunlight streaming in from the open shoji. Birds were busy chirping away, indicating it was already morning. He felt a weight on his forehead and moved a hand to touch it. It was a towel. What is a towel doing on his forehead anyway? Naruto heard a groan beside him before the person sat up. Morning, Naruto-chan, greeted Sasuke happily, apparently forgotten that he had a high fever the day before. Hey, Naruto-chan, you okay? What with the towel on your head? Do you have a fever? Sasuke took the towel away and touched Naruto's forehead, to find that it was normal. You seemed fine to me, but your cheeks seemed very rosy. Naruto, of course, was blushing from the touch from his best friend. What was happening to him? Why is he having all this feeling? To hide his emotion, he quickly sat up and smacked Sasuke's head. Baka. Of course I am fine. And I can't miss school today. Baka. I was worried for you. You don't have to smack my head and it's hurt. Sasuke pouted angrily and rubbed his head. He then got up and left the room, making his way to the bathroom. Naruto sighed guilty and followed after him, knocking on the bathroom door. Nay, Sasuke-chan, I am sorry about earlier. He leaned against the door to hear any response from Sasuke, but he could only hear water gushing from the shower and faint horrible singing of Sasuke. Sasuke-chan. Did you heard what I said? Naruto yelled. Huh? I can't hear you. Come in. Sasuke yelled back. Naruto turned the knob and entered the bathroom. Only a shower curtain was separating them from view of each other. I want to apologize about what I did earlier. I am sorry. Naruto mumbled softly, all the while looking at the tiles of the bathroom's floor. Sasuke popped his head out from the curtain. You come in here, just to tell me that? He smiled at Naruto. I thought you going to be angry with me. Naruto stared angrily at the laughing Sasuke, the water dripping from his raven hair onto the floor. Nope, how could I be angry with my best buddy over a smack on a head? Naruto smiled happily but stopped short when Sasuke splashed some water over at him. Take that, you moron, laughed Sasuke. Naruto sputtered the water out and smiled cheekily. I better head back home. Iruka Aniki must be so worried about me. As he walked out of the bathroom, his hand reached over to a switch and switched it off. Naruto walked a few feet from the bathroom before he heard a loud shriek of cold. Point 7. Naruto. Oh my gosh. Are you better now? Uchiha-sama came to look for me and told me that you had high fever last night. Iruka happily hugged Naruto the moment the blonde kid entered the house. I had a high fever. No wonder there was a towel on me forehead when we woke up this morning. I want ramen. Whined Naruto, being hungry from not eating anything from yesterday's morning. He sniffed the air and found some delicious already cooking in the kitchen. He bounced into the kitchen to find the two teammates of Iruka's team at the table. Both of them had dark rings under their eyes, probably staying up with the worried Iruka. Morning. Kakashi Aniki and Itachi Aniki. He greeted the teenager boys before bouncing to the stove to find a pot of ramen. Ooh, beef ramen. I told the kid was going to be fine. Yawned Kakashi, through the black fabric. He was back in his normal outfit. And someone was so worried that we all couldn't sleep as well. Grumbled Itachi. He poked at the bowl of ramen with his pair of chopsticks. You know there are cases of children dying from high fever. Beside, I told you guys that you could go home, but no. The two of you want to stay. Iruka eyed the two of them, who quickly started eating on their ramen. Kakashi realized that ramen could enter his mouth was because of the fabric. Haha. Kakashi Aniki, you can't enjoy a good bowl of ramen with that cloth covering over your mouth. Kakashi stared angrily at the blonde boy, who purposed sipped slowly at the noodle. I guess that always a bad outcome to be cool, he thought to himself silently. Kakashi, why don't just take off your mask and eat? Itachi grumbled, partly because he really wanted to see an eating Kakashi. Whenever there was a camp over in any mission, Kakashi would head over to somewhere and eat alone. No, I will go into the bathroom and eat there. Kakashi got up, taking his ramen with him into the bathroom, leaving Iruka, Itachi and Naruto staring after him. Kakashi Aniki is weird. Imagine eating ramen in the bathroom. Laughed Naruto, but then he realized that he always eat in the bathroom while doing his business. Ew. Naruto-chan, you think you alright to attend school day? Asked Iruka as he cleared away his empty bowl. Hi, I want to rock the school, replied Naruto happily. And give me hell? Iruka raised an eyebrow at him. Naruto smiled cheekily at him. Hi, Iruka-sensei. Huh, that brat going to be in your class? Asked Itachi, as he was hit squarely in the head by a chopstick. Don't call me brat, you stupid useless Junin. Naruto going all shark teeth on the Junin. He was about to reach over to bite Itachi's arm when the door's bell rang. I will get it. He jumped on Itachi's head and run to open the door. Yo. Ready to head to school? Greeted Gaara. He had a gourd behind his back. Sasuke was carrying a black backpack. Nice bag. Gaara-chan. Naruto went over to touch the gourd, his hand trailing over the gourd before to the top, which was the cover. Just don't pull open the cover, warned Gaara. Gaara-chan. What is in there? Asked Sasuke as he knocked on the gourd. He could feel something shifting in there. Oh, just sand. Sand? Both Sasuke and Naruto stared wide-eyed at Gaara, who just thumbed the way to school. Better get going before we are late. Hi, bye all the Anikis in the house. Naruto too lazy to mention everyone's name. There were greeting of "be careful" on the street. From various part of the house. The three boys slowly make their way to the academy. The three boys automatically occupied the back row of the classroom, giving the other kids deadly stares if they wanted to join them. Naruto was by the door, he claiming that it was easier for him to make a trip to canteen if he wanted food. Sasuke was in the middle while Gaara was left since he wanted space to put his gourd. Many of the girls were staring at them, mostly at Sasuke, who was busy ignoring them by talking his two best friends. Naruto-chan, Gaara-chan, do I look so weird? Sasuke whispered to them softly. No, the both replied after scanning Sasuke from head to toe. Then why is all the girls staring at me? I am scared. He took a quick look at the front row girls who blushed and waved at him. Did you see that? No, I think you being a little paranoid. Naruto yawned and put his head on the table, telling the other two to wake him up the moment Iruka entered the class. Gaara-chan, did you see what they did? They go red in the face and wave at me. I guess there is something wrong with me. Sasuke by now was going little hysteric. Sasuke-chan, there is definitely nothing wrong with you. I think it is them who are a bit screw loose, or not they wouldn't be going to red in the face and waving their arms. Girls are always nuts. Remembering his eldest sister, who always goes red in the face whenever there is a guy around. You sure? Sasuke relaxed a little and then he put his chin on the table, trying to avoid eye contacts with the nutty girls who immediately turned to front for no reason. Was there. While his head was down, Gaara had slowly bring a finger across his neck indicating death. If they do not turn to the front. Gaara noticed two presences sitting beside him. He craned his neck forward since his gourd was blocking his view to see two boys sitting on the other side. The boy sitting closer to his gourd had strict-looking face, with his hair pulled back into a ponytail, while the other was a fat boy who was busy munching away at some chips. The boy with the strict-looking face turned to look at him, giving Gaara a glum smile. Hey there. Gaara just nodded his head, being the way he was before he met Naruto and Sasuke. I am Shikamaru and this fella here is Choji. Do you mind if we sit here? We don't want to get so close with female contact. Fine by me. Do you mind if you put down this gourd so we could talk better? Shikamaru shivered at the frown that Gaara gave but sighed inwardly when he put the gourd under the table. What is your name? Gaara. Ooh, nice name. So those guys beside you are your friends? Shikamaru pointed a thumb at the two sleeping guys beside Gaara. Yeah, Sasuke and Naruto. Gaara then reached over them and smacked them on the back to wake them up, for Iruka had entered the classroom. What? I haven't got to the ramen part yet, whined Naruto as he looked up sleepily at Iruka, who frowned at the little outburst. Okay, morning students and welcome to the academy. I am Iruka sensei and will be coaching you to the right path of the ninjas. Now we will begin by getting to know each other. He inwardly groaned when he saw most of the girl perking up at getting to know each other. We will get the ball running, starting from the back, and that is you, Naruto. Why me? Iruka Ani, I mean sensei, grumbled Naruto. Because you are at the back. Iruka gave a don't make me go there and struggle you look. Naruto stood up and scratched his head. What am I supposed to say? Just introduce yourself, what you like and dislike. You know that kind of stuff, Iruka answered him patiently. Okay. I am Uzumaki Naruto, 10 this year. What else? Oh yeah, I like eating ramen. Any types of ramen except vegetarian flavor. I love spending my time hanging out with my two buddies Sasuke and Gaara. I hate the 4 bakas, overcooked ramen. I think that is all. That is very good, next please. He watches the front rows of girl taking out notepads and eagerly waiting for the raven-haired boy to stand up and introduce himself. Sasuke groaned inwardly at the girls but smiled when he felt both Naruto and Gaara holding his hands in order to give him support. I am Uchiha Sasuke. I like buddies Naruto and Gaara and dislike almost everything, especially those weird front girls. He heard loud moans and grumbling from the front row when he sat down. That wasn't very nice, Sasuke, scolded Iruka. Sorry, I couldn't help it. He bowed his head apologetically. The front row's girl all awed and forgave him immediately, to his worst nightmare. Gaara then stood up and mumbled out, Gaara, before sitting down again. Anything else you want to add on, Gaara? Iruka watched the crimson-haired boy shaking his head before him, the front row girl's death glare. This is going to be long day and year for me, Iruka unhappily mumbled out. Iruka had brought his class out into the school's practice ground, which was just behind the school. He was glad that the introduction was over and the students were sitting in front of him, under the shady rain tree. The introduction was a disaster, especially when you have a bunch of Sasuke crazy girls in the front and boys treated girls like germs or vegetables, Naruto, at the back. Earlier in class it was now the front row girls to introduce themselves. A girl with big forehead, dodge all stones from Sakura's fans, and pink shoulder-length hair stood up, blushing deeply as she turned to face the class. Hello, I am Sakura. I am so glad to be in this class. As if, interrupted Naruto as he put his head down on the table and yawned. Sakura fumed but continued, I love to befriend all of you in the class by the end of this year. She then gave a wink to Sasuke, who shivered and tried to hide behind Gaara's gourd. Gaara gave a back-off you parasite look to Sakura, who ignored and continued, I dislike people who give me creepy stares and that blonde-haired boy in the back. What's your problem, you bitch? Naruto angrily stood on the table, raising a fist at Sakura. Gaara was also standing up. Sasuke could feel his anger shifting in the gourd. The sand were swirling around, all of them wanting to get out and strangle the pink-haired girl. Sasuke tried to pull back his two friends, much to amuse of Sakura, who thought that her crush was on her side. She smirked victoriously. Actually, I don't have a problem, but somehow the problem turned to be the both of you boys. In fact, I don't think you be regarded as boys since you don't have any parents to scold you or teach you how to respect people. Shut up! Naruto shouted. By now the whole class was starting to feel afraid. Iruka was just rubbing his throbbing temple. A bad headache was coming up. It is my mouth and you don't have to tell me to. Just shut the asterisk beep up. You beep bitch. You got a asterisk beep mouth and asterisk beep big forehead. Just go somewhere and get a plastic surgery. Naruto growled at Sakura, who whimpered under the fox glare. The rest of classmates, including both Sasuke and Gaara, just gasped at Naruto's use of language. Both Shikamaru and Choji were smiling inwardly, for they too disliked the front row girls, especially Sakura, for they had insulted the both. I am going to tell my mom the moment I get home and make sure that you will get expelled for this. This time I don't think anyone will help you cause you don't have anyone, shouted Sakura with tears in her eyes. Enough! Enough! Yelled Sasuke, putting his hand up to stop both parties from arguing. Sasuke-chan, you sided me, don't you? Sakura smiled lovely devade to Sasuke, who shivered. Stop that smile, it scares me. Sakura's smile broke apart, sound of glasses breaking asterisk. You know something, you beeps. I don't know why you should even be a girl. You are worse than a whore. So what if you got parents, but did you really get their love? Naruto-chan doesn't have any parents, but guess what? I love him, in fact my whole family love him, even the dolphin. Iruka. 1. Does. Sasuke gave a glance to Iruka, who blushed at his nick from both Kakashi and Itachi. Dolphin? Went the class. Sakura took the opportunity and ran out of the class, with tears streaking across her face. A girl soon followed after her. Uchiha Sasuke. That wasn't very nice of you to say such thing to a girl, barked Iruka, popping his head out of the classroom to see which direction she went. Lucky for him and unlucky for Sasuke. Itachi appeared in the front of the class, who gave a nod to Iruka to chase after the pink-haired girl. Now what all this all about? Questioned Itachi as he narrowed his eyes at Sasuke. It wasn't my fault. In the first place, that dumb girl insulted Naruto here, and I just want to get back at her, answered Sasuke, who patted a sad Naruto on the head. Itachi raised an eyebrow at Naruto. He had never seen Naruto so sad and broken before. That bitch must have really hit the spot. Then you little moron don't have to send the girl into tears. Don't call me moron, you idiot. Beside, like I said, it wasn't my fault. Sasuke growled. Itachi, who just coolly went up to his little brother. With one finger in front the nose, he flicked it. That is for calling me, idiot, as Sasuke grabbed his nose and moaned in pain. The class began buzzing with excitement, all wanting to see the teacher would do any jutsu to Sasuke. Both brothers gave a stare to class, who toned down. Shut beep up. You are all too noisy. I am Itachi-sensei. Since Iruka-sensei is away on a little business, and I have the honor to introduce little brats like you to the world of jutsu. Immediately the whole class started to hate the Itachi-sensei, who ignored their hatred stare and went to blackboard. Taking a chalk in hand, he wrote, "Chakra," on the board. Anyone want to tell me what exactly chakra is? A couple of hands including both Gaara and Sasuke raised their hand. Anyone but my dumb little brother. How about the boy next to him then? Itachi pointed the chalk at Gaara, who smiled proudly at being chosen. Sasuke sulked beside him and grumbled about complaining to Mum about Aniki picking at him in school. With a deep breath, Gaara answered, "Chakra is energy that a ninja needs to utilize a technique. That energy comes from the body energy that is collected from every cell in the body and from the spirit energy that comes from training and experiences. In other words, techniques come from these two energies that are squeezed out of the body and mold together. This process is known as molding the charka, and with this charka, one is able to execute technique by forming a seal." Very good. Sit down please. Itachi smiled happily. Someone young like Gaara was able to tell him what the heck is chakra. Even little Sasuke doesn't know what it is. Speaking of which, his brother was happily munching on something provided by the fat boy sitting a few seats away from him. Gaara sat down and sighed. He was nervous earlier, for he had never talked in front of so many people before. Naruto poked him and gave him a thumb up. "I never knew you were so smart, Gaara-chan." Gaara smiled shyly back at him. "No whispering in the back," barked Itachi as he went on to explain to the students more about charka. -40 minutes later, half the class was starting to yawn and fall asleep, to droning of Itachi explaining about charka. He himself was praying for Iruka to come back quickly so that he could head back to the teacher lounge for a nap, for he didn't had enough sleep last night because of a mission. "Sasuke-chan, I didn't know your brother was such a boring teacher. I bet he killed his enemy by lecturing him. Yawn, wake me up when he done with it." Naruto put his head on Sasuke's shoulder and closed his eyes. Sasuke, too, was controlling not to sleep. He knew that his brother could be boring at times, but not this boring. He looked at Gaara, who was also like him, trying to keep awake by having Sans keeping his head up and his eyes open. Wouldn't that hurts? Even if you have a high amount of chakra, not being able to use it properly will affect your stamina. If you expel all of chakra, you will die. He emphasized more on the die, and immediately the whole class sat up straight. At that moment Iruka came in, with his hand on Sakura's shoulder, and the other girl was walking behind them. "Thanks a lot, Itachi-sensei." Iruka smiled at him while settling Sakura back to her seat. "No problem, I am off then." As Itachi walked past Iruka, he whispered softly into Iruka's ear, "You owe me dinner, just the two of us," before continued his way to the teacher lounge, unaware that someone with silver hair was watching them from outside the window. Someone who's supposed to be with the Anbu but instead was outside the academy's window. "Sorry about that earlier. I am sure by now that you all understand the basic of chakra. Now we shall head down to the practice ground where you will the power of chakra." The whole class cheered happily. Finally they didn't have to hear another lecture but instead get to see the cool moves of a true shinobi. Back to the present. "Any more questions you want to ask before I start demonstrating?" Iruka asked after he had explained that he would be using his spiritual energy to walk up the tree with just his feet. He raised his eyebrow in surprise when Naruto raised his hand. "Yes, Naruto." "Iruka-sensei, I have a very important question to ask. What time is lunch?" Iruka and the rest class including Sasuke and Gaara sweat drop. Naruto, lunch would be just after this. So take it easy would you? Answer Iruka giving a soft laugh. He stood up and touched the rain tree's bark. "I am now going to walk up the tree, so watch carefully." He closed his eyes and concentrated all his spiritual energy towards his feet. Soon he was walking up the tree. The whole class started clapping hand and cheering. Iruka stood hanging upside down from a branch. "So do you guys find it cool?" asked Iruka as he smiled at them. They were bewildered and wanted to try it too. Suddenly he was hit in the head by a pebble, causing him to lose a footing and started to fall towards his students. "Iruka-sensei." The class shouted and started in horror as they watched their teacher who only taught them for a day, plunging toward the ground. All eyes watch a blur of gray and Iruka was in the arms of an Anbu who landed on his feet neatly. Kakashi. Iruka smiled at his savior who still had his Anbu mask on, just nodded. He then watched Kakashi waved him goodbye before jumping back into the bush again, probably off to another assassination or mission again. Iruka-sensei, can we have our lunch now? Questioned both Choji and Naruto, showing cute little pouty faces. The rest of class slowly nodded their head. A huge rumbling soon was heard coming from Choji who blushed. Okay, lunch now, but be back in 45 minutes in this very spot. Iruka watched the whole class getting to their feet and rushing their way to the canteen. He sighed softly and looked at the direction where Kakashi made his exit. He sensed that Kakashi was already long gone, but however he had this nagging feeling that the Anbu was still around but not making his presence known. But why? He wondered to himself as he swings himself up onto the branch to nap for the next 45 minutes. The trio including their new 2 classmates happily sat under a shady sakura tree. All of them were checking each other's lunchbox. Naruto had dry barbecue ramen. Sasuke had rice balls. Gaara had sandwich. Shikamaru had rice with fish and carrots while Choji's extra-large lunchbox contained a large portion of teriyaki chicken and several bags of potato chips. Choji-chan, you sure you can eat all those up? Both Sasuke and Naruto nervously stared at Choji gobbling the chicken up. Don't worry, he used to eat more than that every day, answered Shikamaru for his childhood friend who was too busy eating away to answer Naruto. However, he nodded at Shikamaru's answer. Sasuke-chan, can I trade a sandwich for one of your rice ball? Asked Gaara shyly as he held up his egg sandwich. He was tired of eating sandwich and want to eat something for a change. He watched Sasuke taking a rice ball out from his lunchbox and traded for the sandwich. Thanks a lot, Sasuke-chan. Gaara smiled at Sasuke as he bites into the rice ball. Meanwhile Sasuke stared at the sandwich in his hand. He could see sands in it. Scratching his head, Anyo, Gaara-chan, why is there sand in the sandwich? Sasuke held up the sandwich for everyone to see and examine. Baka. What is a sandwich without sand? Wouldn't that be witch? Laughed Naruto as he sipped his green tea. The rest of the group sadly shook their head at Naruto's bad sense of pun. Gaara blushed. Sorry about that. I guess the sand from me gourd accidentally got into me lunchbox. It is okay if you don't want to eat it. Sasuke nodded his head and put the sandwich aside on his lunchbox cover. Wow, the 3 idiots have 2 new mates to join them. The 4 boys appeared before them. Naruto stood up and raised a fist against them. What the hell you guys want? He growled at them. Shikamaru and Choji frowned at the 4 boys. Well, it seemed that we too, like this place you morons are occupying, so get lost from here. Lee stood a step forward to Naruto. No way. We were here first. Sasuke stood up followed by Gaara. Oh really? Then let's have a match to see who will get this place, challenged Neji. The other 3 nodded their head, confident enough that they're going to win. Challenged accepted. Naruto smirked at them as he rolled up his sleeve. Who is first? Mama, please calm down. Iruka-sensei is watching us. Let us not fight, pleaded Shikamaru. Neji stared at him with distaste as he scanned the ground to see Iruka-sensei in a tree nearby them, watching them like a hawk. Gaara stood between both Neji and Naruto, a strict look on his face suddenly with a smile on his face. He helps up his lunchbox of sandwiches. Not fight, like Shikamaru-chan said. Here are some sandwiches to spare us for today. We accept defeat. He bowed so that no one except both Shikamaru and Choji saw the evilness glinting in his eyes. Gaara-chan, what do you mean defeat? I do not accept defeat against those bakas, grumbled Naruto. He was smacked on the head by Shikamaru who winked cheekily at him. Look like we still going to win after all. The 4 boys took 1 sandwich each and smirked happily. Hey, we win this time, laughed Lee as he and the other victoriously bite into the sandwich. All of them had weird expression on their face. Taste a little sandy, commented Shino. Must be the pepper. I love lots of pepper, replied Gaara as he laughed inwardly. The 5 boys watched them gulped up the whole sandwich before they let a long-waited roar of laughter. What is so funny? Blurted Kiba. He looked surprised when he saw bits of sands coming out from his mouth. His mouth and throat was starting to feel itchy and sandy. The other 3 boys were already coughing away. "What cough did cough you gave coughus, you cough sand boy," coughed Neji. Gaara gave an innocent look. "I gave you guys a real taste of what a real sandwich tastes like. If you don't get what he meant, he gave you guys sand." Naruto doubled over with laughter. They watched the 4 of them immediately rushing to the bathroom to rinse their mouth. "Gaara-chan, will they die from eating sand?" questioned Choji, making a mental note not to accept any sandwiches from the crimson-haired boy anymore. Gaara shook his head. "Nope. I guess it will be bad case of food, sand, poisoning." They all sat down under the sakura tree and continue with their lunch. Naruto offered Gaara his extra instant cup ramen. With 25 minutes to go, they just lazed around peacefully under a tree when a bunch of girls came up to them more like Sasuke. "Sasuke-kun, do you want some of our lunch?" asked a blonde-haired girl who had accompanied Sakura out of the classroom earlier. Sasuke looked at her and the rest of the girl behind her. It was the horrifying front row girls, and all of them had their lunchbox in their hand. "Thanks but no thanks. I am pretty full," Sasuke calmly replied her. "Then can we join you?" She happily just sat down closely beside Sasuke. The rest of the girls also sat down around Sasuke, who was getting uncomfortable. Naruto and the rest frowned at them. First it was the 4 Bakas who tried to invade their tree, now it was the front row girls. What is next? "Gaara-chan, I don't like this," Naruto whispered to Gaara, who nodded in return. I think we guys just spent this time by ourselves now." Sasuke slowly mumbled. He knew it was going to be useless. "Won't you get lonely?" Ino pouted to Sasuke blushed deeply. He never had a girl behaving the way Ino did to him before. "No, enough of all this," he yelled and stood up, shocking his little fan club. Sasuke then ran away at high speed. The rest of the girl got up and followed him. "Sasuke-kun, wait up!" they screamed after him. "Poor Sasuke-chan." The remaining boys sadly shake their head. Naruto stood up and prepared to give a chase after them. "Oi! Where are you going?" asked Gaara. "I'm going to rescue Sasuke-chan." "But he can help himself." "No, not when you have a bunch of crazy girls. The chances of winning are low." With that, Naruto gave a chase after them. Gaara watched his blonde friend running away, and he sat down beside Choji, who offered him some of the potato chip, and Shikamaru, who just lay there and daydream. Unnoticed to them, a shy girl with white eyes hid behind the tree. Observing them, she was about to turn and leave when Gaara voiced out her presence. "Whoever you are, you better come out now, we mean you no harm." Hinata sighed nervously and came out from her hiding place. "Hi," she greeted them in her soft voice. Shikamaru opened one eye and observed the newcomer before he went back to his daydreaming again. Don't know what the heck he is dreaming about. "Who are you?" asked Gaara as he watched the girl, who was so much different from the rest, was blushing in front of him. "Hyuga Hinata." She bowed her head so that her fringe was covering her eyes. "What are you doing here, Hyuga-san?" Gaara tried to place where he had heard that last name before. I wanted, say, hi, to, Naruto-kun." She stuttered out, after which she ran away. Gaara raised an eyebrow at her before mumbling out, "Another weird girl." Meanwhile, somewhere a cat and mouse chase was on. "Stay away from me," screamed Sasuke as he ran as fast as he could away from the girls. "Sasuke-kun!" they screamed after him. Somewhere up in the building, from the window of the teacher's lounge, an older version of Sasuke was laughing his head off at the pathetic sight of his little brother running away from a bunch of girls. He was soon reminded of the old school days of having fangirls following him everywhere he goes. He sighed and smiled softly. "You will soon get used to it, Sasuke-chan." "Sasuke-chan, where are you?" An orange figure on the rooftop searching for his raven friend. He swore that his best friend made a turn up in here since he saw one of the girls. He smiled as he felt a faint presence coming from behind the water tank and decided to sneak attack on Sasuke. Boo! He jumped out in front of the person to see that it wasn't his best friend but instead was that irritating pink girl. He wanted to curse that girl for insulting him in class earlier but changed his mind when he saw that the girl was crying. "What the hell you want now?" She shrieked at him and continues crying out aloud. "Leave me alone. You gave me enough misery." Naruto frowned at what she was shrieking out at him. He sat down beside her and stared up at the clear blue sky with no puffy little clouds decorating over it today. Sakura stopped crying and looked at the blonde boy she had insulted this morning and asked him, "What are you doing here?" Two pair of clear blue eyes stops looking at the sky and now looking into her sapphire eyes. "Actually, I was looking for Sasuke, but never mind him. I enjoy the atmosphere here. It is peace and the sky is a nice shade of blue. Just like the shade of your eyes." Sakura blushed at what she said. Naruto, still blushing from her comment, looked back into the sky. "Anyo, Sakura. I am sorry about earlier, I didn't mean to make you cry." He scratched his head in apology. I was angry with you but not anymore." She sighed deeply and also looked up to the sky to see a hawk flying by. "Then why are you still so sad?" asked Naruto. He hates seeing people sad, especially after all the pain and rejection he gone through. "It is because, never mind." Sakura sighed deeply and put her head on her knee. "It is okay, you can tell me. I promise I would not tell anyone." Naruto immediately did the scout honor. "If I did tell anyone, may all my precious ramen gas be stolen." Bawled out crying asterisk. Sakura laughed at his little scout honor. She had never met anyone so simple-minded and funny before. She frowned and thought, is Sasuke the same as Naruto? "So are you going to tell me?" spoke Naruto, breaking Sakura's thought. "Okay. You promised me. It is just that it really hurts to have someone you like very much to say mean things to you." "Oh, are you talking about Sasuke-chan?" Naruto watched the pink head bob up and down. He had to find a way to cheer the poor girl up. A little light bulb suddenly hovered above his head. "Ah!" He quickly reached into this pocket and held it out for Sakura as a cheer-up gift. "What is that?" "Kawaii," she crooned as she took the furry little fox keychain from his hand and stroked it. "A little something that I found in the forest when I was 6. It's been my good luck charm since then. You can have it." Naruto smiled a foxy smile at her, who smiled back gratefully. "Thank a lot, Naruto-chan." "Nah, that is nothing." He blushed. Naruto looked at his watch and frowned at the time. They were going to be late if they don't hurry. "We better get going." He stood up and waved goodbye at Sakura. "Keep on smiling always," before running away. "Thank a lot, Naruto. You really cheer me up." Sakura smiled softly at the gift from the boy she insulted this morning. With 5 minutes to the end of break, Iruka sat up straight on the tree. Some of the students were already sitting down and chatting away. Gaara and another 2 boys were standing up, seemed to be searching for someone, probably both Naruto and Sasuke. "Boo!" Naruto gave a tap to Iruka's shoulder from the back, scaring the older boy a bit. "Naruto-chan. What are you doing here? Gaara-chan and the rest seem to be looking for you and Sasuke-chan." Iruka pointed them out to Naruto, who just grinned. "Nay, Iruka Aniki, about earlier. How was it?" Iruka smiled, hoping to hear a positive remark from his student. Naruto gave a thumb up and slowly he flipped it the other way. "You beep. I can't believe you just embarrassed yourself and me in front of the class." "But it wasn't my fault. Someone threw a pebble at me," protested Iruka, with a feeling that Naruto was the one who threw it. "You are a sensei. You should be able to dodge that. Lucky Kakashi Aniki was around so that he was able to rescue you, but the way, what is he doing here?" "How would I know?" The alarm rung across the practice ground, indicating that the break was over. "Now get the heck down with your classmate." Iruka watched the blonde boy jumping from the tree and going over to his circle of friend. "Hey Naruto, did Iruka said anything about the pebble?" questioned Gaara. Shikamaru and Choji were also curious to know. They were in fact the ones to throw the pebble. Sasuke was the one. Since Kakashi promised a big bowl of ramen to each student and probably a mini issue of Uchiha Paradise. "I told him that he beep." "Where is Sasuke-chan?" Naruto realized that the Raven boy was missing. At that moment, Sasuke appeared out of breath beside him and the rest. On the other side, the front row girls were also out of breath. "You looked like to just run all the way to the country of sand and back here," commented Shikamaru, with Choji giving a snicker. They all watched Sasuke collapse to the ground. "Huff, I think I going to die on my second official day of school," groaned out Sasuke as he put an arm over his eyes. "Ma, what did those crazy girls did to you?" wondered Naruto. Sasuke was never this tired out by anything before. They make me run around the school several times. Then how come they are not so tired as you are? Gaara pointed over to the bunch of girls who had chased after Sasuke, looking over and giggling away. They didn't seem tired at all. I don't know. Maybe girls have better battery pack than ours, answered Sasuke. Naruto and the others went, huh, at his reply. To be continued, and thank you for watching.